Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. Sorry, I was muted for the intro. I do apologise. But welcome, guys. Big show tonight. Plenty to talk about. Friday night. Sit back, relax, grab a beer if you want. Order the takeaway. And let's talk about Manchester United. It's all about midfielders tonight. We've got some reports suggesting that PSG have set their price on Ugarte. And nobody will be happy with it, to be quite honest with you. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about potential exits from Manchester United. There's been some reports suggesting Casemiro, Scott McTominay, so on and so forth. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. We've heard reports coming out of Saudi Arabia suggesting Manchester United have informed them that Bruno Fernandes, Sancho and Casemiro are staying at the club this summer. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. And only in the last hour or so, we've heard reports suggesting that Manchester United are looking to go in and do a deal for Xavi Simons, which is, unreal as well. And we've got a little bit of an update on Adrien Rabiot as well. So plenty to talk about, guys. And I do want to mention a little bit about outgoings away from the midfield. We've got an update on Aaron Wan-Bissaka. We've also got an update on Anthony, which United supposedly happy to let him go this summer. And finally, last but not least, the takeover bid for Everton has collapsed. What does that mean for Manchester United and their potential pursuit of Jarrad Branthwaite? Plenty to talk about, guys. As always, smash a like on the video. Please do hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Helps out the channel an awful lot if you can. Let's try to get to 50 likes again. It seems to be our target most nights. So please do smash that like button and hit subscribe. But most importantly, get your comments in. I want to know your opinions on all of these topics that we're going to be talking about tonight. And we're going to start, of course, with Ugarte. Now, we know Manchester United have, got deals done for Xerxes and then also for Lenny Yoro. Ugarte looks like it's going to be the next one on the chopping block for Manchester United. Personal terms have been agreed with the player, which is always good. It's down to now negotiating between PSG and Manchester United over a price. Now, it looks like the likes of Dan Ashworth and Brailsford and, Barada, whoever's going to be doing the negotiating, are going to have their hands full with this one because PSG are demanding €70 million for the midfielder. Now, Manchester United, and this is coming from Plettigol, obviously, who works for Sky in Germany, he's been saying that United are leading the race. There are a couple of other teams in for him. He says here, Manchester United are leading the race for Ugarte. 2 teams from Italy, 1 from Spain and another club from England have contacted PSG. They are demanding €70 million. No agreements between the clubs yet. Crazy money. If they stick with €70 million, we're out. We are out, I think. And it's... Now, look, I like Ugarte, but I can't see how... I mean, what did they pay for him last summer? That's something that I should have had ready. I think it was around the 60 million mark. Now, whether that's with whether that is in euros or whether it's in pounds. Let me just double check it here and we'll see. Transfers. So he went from Sporting to PSG for €60 million last summer. And he's had a disappointing season. So I think €70 million is absolute wibble out of PSG. I have to say, I don't think he's worth that. I don't think anybody will pay that for him. Regardless of whether there are a number of teams involved. And usually when you've got more than one team, when you've got multiple teams, the selling club can play one off of the other. But at €70 million, you're not going to have any buyers for this guy. You just will not. So it's going to be a very interesting negotiation between Manchester United and PSG, and Dan Ashworth and Dave Brailsford and Jason Wilcox, Omar Barada, whoever it is, are going to have their hands full with the negotiations of this one because €70 million is completely out of the question. So yeah, I mean, look, will this get done? It's really after throwing a spanner in the works now, this €70 million. If you had have asked me this morning, before the news of this came out, I would have said, yep, I think we will get Ugarte. if you had of asked me, sorry, what am I doing here? Apologies. Here we go. Yeah, if you had asked me this morning, I would have said, yes, he'll be the next one on the chopping block for Manchester United and we'll get the deal done. Now, however, I can't see Manchester United going in with a 70 million euro bid. I just can't. You know, if they're going to 70, where do we start? Do we start with 40? That means then we meet in the middle at 50, 55 maybe. Still, I mean, you know, with the amount of money that Manchester United have to spend this summer, it's going to be really, really pulling on the purse strings. It really, really is. However, there may be an alternative here to raise funds, and that is selling players. Serious chance one of Ten Hag's trusted lieutenants is sold to the club, who view him as their solution. So in order to fund Manuel Ugarte's mooted arrival at Manchester United, Ineos may have to sanction the outgoings of two key first-teamers. After Fabrizio Romano revealed last night that personal terms had been agreed for the PSG ace, he followed up by adding that Casemiro and Scott McTominay could both be sold to make room for any midfield arrivals. The Scotsman is certainly attracting interest, blah, blah, blah. United dismissed a bid from West Ham last summer as they valued their homegrown talent at closer to £45 million. Now that he's back off a career-best goal-scoring campaign, netting 10 times in all competitions, you'd expect that they'll have increased their demands somewhat. Now, look, I mean, £45 million for Scott McTominay, I think, is a bit too much. Even though he had a very good season, I think 45 million is probably a bit of a stretch. Now, we have also got this guy. Fabrizio Romano has suggested that Casemiro is still heading to Saudi Arabia, and he's been pretty steadfast on this, that he will end up going to Saudi Arabia, and that comes off of the back of this report. Sorry, I know I'm going through a lot of reports relatively quick, but we'll get in and talk about it in a moment. This is coming from this outlet in Saudi Arabia, who have over 1 million followers, and they say that Manchester United officials have told the PIF that their intentions are to keep Bruno Fernandes, Jadon Sancho and Casemiro this summer. Now, what do we think about this? I made a TikTok on it earlier. For Jadon Sancho, go, okay? Bruno Fernandes, stay. And Casemiro, meh. If he goes, he goes. If he stays, he stays. Ideally, I would like to move him on because his wages are so high. I think a lot of that money could be quite smartly reinvested into the squad if we do move him on. Now, what is this report suggesting here? It's suggesting a couple of things, in my opinion. Firstly, basically what it says on the tin, that Manchester United are looking to keep Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes and Jadon Sancho this summer. However, what I also can read into this as well is, and we have to realise now as well, look at what we now are as a football club in terms of negotiating and in terms of approaching a transfer window. Literally overnight, we're now competing and we're now competitive within the transfer market. Is this a ploy out of Manchester United now to maybe drive the price up a little bit? Because we've been hearing over the last couple of weeks that if Saudi Arabia come in for Casemiro, they're going to come in with about a 20-25 million bid. And that would be probably one of the lowest offers they've ever had for a player, I would presume, given the kind of money that they've been paying for players over the last couple of years. So that's also how I'm reading into it. I cannot see Manchester United wanting to keep Jadon Sancho, Ten Hag specifically. And I think when you look at, you know, the likes of Barada, for example, who is now the CEO, that he has a 2-year rule with players. And we spoke about this in the past. He has a 2-year rule when it comes to players. If you don't perform in the first 2 seasons of your arrival at the club, you're gone. Okay? And Jadon Sancho, without a doubt, falls into that category. So I think this is maybe a ploy out of Manchester United to try and raise the try and raise the price tag on these players. Now, look, Bruno Fernandes is not going anywhere. I don't think he will go. When you see the kind of good work that we're doing now in terms of bringing in good players, why would Bruno Fernandes now want to leave, having suffered so much hardship over the last couple of years, well, since he arrived at Manchester United? Why would he leave now when things seem to be turning a corner? So, yeah, it's a strange one. But it's one that we need to keep an eye on. It really is one that we need to keep an eye on, because I think Casemiro will go. I think Jadon Sancho will go. I think Scott McTominay will probably stay, to be honest with you. And I think it'll probably be as cutthroat as who we can get the most money for. I think if we get more money for McTominay, he goes. If we get more money for Casemiro, he goes. And I think that's how it's going to work this summer. I think you've got to balance it out as well with, I presume Casemiro is on a hell of a lot more money in terms of wages than Scott McTominay is. However, 1 plus 1 doesn't equal 3. So I presume they'll do the maths on it and they'll say, look, if we can get 30 million for Casemiro and his wages off the books, that will be better financially for us than selling Scott McTominay for 40 million and getting his wages off the books over a 3 or 4 year period, whatever the case may be. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Let's see what you guys think. Get your comments in, guys. We'll go down through them. Heard a lot of people saying that Ugarte is a PSG flop, says Dylan. Well, to be honest with you, we were linked with Ugarte last summer as well, quite briefly, and I was very excited about it. He done some really good stuff at Sporting Lisbon. I don't think PSG is the best place to go to flourish. I think it's a strange club. They buy massive names, big names. I'm very surprised to hear the likes of João Neves, for example, is going to end up going to PSG now by the looks of it. They go for the likes of him, big signings. Osimhen, for example, they're in for him as well. So we don't, at the moment, we've got nothing that is suggesting that we're making bad signings, because the structure behind now with Ineos there do their homework on players, and time will tell. And let me say this right now: we will not. Every single signing we make won't be a good one. You know what I mean? Not every signing we make is going to be a good one. That's what I'm trying to say. We are going to have some signings that don't work out, but the majority of them do. Happy days. You know what I mean? The majority of them do. Happy days. That's all I will say. So, I wouldn't be going as far as saying he's a flop. Chris says they paid 60 mil for him. Walk away, 40 mil max. They are trying to fund the Neves bid. Exactly. Well, look, every team is like that. They're going to try and get as much money as they possibly can. If they set the bar high, then there's a more of likelihood that, you'll meet in the middle. And that middle will be higher than if you start the ceiling low. Danny says, I'd like to see Ugarte playing for Man United, but not for 70 million. That's PSG trying to take advantage of Man United. Finally, we have proper people in charge, so we won't overpay. Alan thinks it's too much for him as well. Smells like that Portuguese lad no one wants. I don't know what that's all about. Craig says Ugarte and Xavi for 110 mil. Neil is in there as well. Alan says 45 to 50 million. 40 million plus add-on, says Chris. Everyone needs a safety whistle on their team. They do. Absolutely they do. I would keep McTominay, sell Casemiro, says Alan, and sell Sancho. Also, Sancho has to go, says Sean. And Dylan says, Sancho, I don't see where we can play him. Like we have Garnacho right and Rashford left. Or if we sign Simons, he'd be on the right and Garnacho be on the left. So barely be getting playtime. And Danny then says also, without a doubt, I'd keep Bruno Fernandes, but I'd sell Sancho and Casemiro. Neither of them are good enough. Plus, it's a way for us. It's a way for us to raise funds, so they'd be gone. TNR says Simons. We're going to get onto him now in a moment. Aaron says, how do you honestly think we can make? How much do you honestly think we can make via sales? Well, we can easily make over 100 million. Easily make over 100 million, Aaron. I mean, if we're talking 30 million for Casemiro, 30 million for Jadon Sancho, 30 million for Scott McTominay. We've already sold Mason Greenwood for 30 million. We've also sold Cambuala for 10. So, I think we could quite easily make 120 to 150 million euro with sales. I really do. And then bang, you're reinvesting that into the squad. So you are. Daryl says, I keep McTominay over the other two. McTominay's on 60k a week compared to Casemiro 350 and Sancho, whatever he's on. Yeah, and look, the one thing I would say as well is, either way, you're going to be keeping one of them, if you do, as a squad player. And I'm okay with Scott McTominay being a squad player. The majority of the goals he scored for us last season was when he came off the bench. So I'm okay with that. And like you said, he is on less money and he is an academy graduate. So you have to take that into consideration as well. And I know sentimentality has to, you have to keep that away. However, he knows what it is to be a Manchester United player, even if he's not quite up to the standards that we want. You know what I mean? So, that all has to come into consideration as well. It really does. Simons would be a loan with obligation to buy. I don't like this idea. I don't see an issue with it, to be quite honest with you. With the obligation part, I can understand. I've no problem with loaning players. But yeah, if it's an obligation to buy and then he comes and flops, you're in big trouble. Do you think we need another left back, says Alan? I'm going to reserve judgment on that one for the moment, Alan, because I just don't know what the situation is with Terrell Malacia. We don't know how close he is to being back and what way he's going to come back. So if he's ready to go and he's ready to be that backup, then brilliant. Luke Shaw, came back, played at the Euros. He should be ready to rock and roll for pre-season. So I think we need to prioritise other areas before left back. That's what I would say. Jamie says, after Eric Ten Hag making up with Sancho, is everything red and rosy again? Will he get a chance and will he eventually begin to perform? Time will tell. My opinion on this one, Jamie, is that nobody wants to buy him at the moment. There's been very little interest in him. Let's put it that way, okay? So excluding him from the squad and not having him in the shop window is not going to make anyone else want to come in for him. So I think making up with him, or letting on even that you've made up with him to the media and get him back in training and get him into a couple of games in pre-season and put him in the shop window, there's a more likelihood of him being sold then. Because, if he's not involved with first team training, nobody is seeing him play, who's going to come in for him, And I think we probably will get more money for him the more we put him on display as well. Euro number 15 says, Dylan, yep, the man, yeah, whoa, he comes from Serbia, he'll fucking murder ya, nah, man, yeah, whoa. What happened to Alvaro Fernandez, that Spanish left back we had? He was on loan last year. He'll probably be moved on this summer, I think. But yeah, I think he was on loan, wasn't he? If I remember correctly. Juventus wanted to buy him. Why not pursue that? United are probably looking for too much, to be honest with you. Now, I think Jadon Sancho is probably holding out for Juventus as well. I think Jadon Sancho will go this summer, guys. I really do. I really do. The thing about it is, and what I'm happy about is that we're signing players quickly. You don't have to be overly pushy about getting players out the door. There's plenty of time left in the transfer window to sell players, Now, obviously, the longer you leave it, the tighter it's going to be. If you're spending a load of money, you need to balance the books and get some of the players off of the wage bill as well. So, but I do think we'll end up selling players. I really do. Is that right? Anthony going out on loan. I'm going to talk about Anthony in a minute, Neil. Absolutely. He was sold to Benfica, says Chris. Alvaro was sold for pennies. That's right. He was sold. He was. Dylan says, would you get Rabiot? I'm going to talk about Rabiot now as we speak. Right. Let's talk about, first and foremost, I'm going to talk about this. Okay. News coming from L'Equipe whatever it is, coming from France, and they are saying that just in, Manchester United have been working on a deal to bring Xavi Simons to Old Trafford. We haven't had any updates on prices, on, transfer fees, on if the player wants to sign, whatever the case may be. We've just got this so far. And yeah, look, I mean, if you look at his valuation on transfer market, he is valued at 80 million euros. Okay, now again, 80 million euros. Sorry, let me zoom in on it so you guys can see. And get rid of the ad and exit off altogether. There we go. So 80 million euro is what we're looking at over here. And yeah, attacking midfielder. Now, where does he play? Does he play off the right? Somebody can tell me in the chat. Sorry, I'm completely after. Yeah, I mean, he can play off the right. He can play through the middle. He mainly plays through the middle. Now, what I would say about this is, I mean, if he's coming in as a number 10, and we're already after buying Joshua Zirkzee, who is not an out-and-out striker and likes to drop deep and is very much so seen as a link-up player, and we've got Bruno Fernandes, and we've got Mason Mount, are we going to be going for a guy like this? If it is for the right-hand side, then I can see it, But does he play much on the right-hand side? I'm not 100% sure. You guys can let me know in the chat. The one thing I do know is that he's a good footballer. Seeing him in the Euros, was impressed with him. And again, you're buying a young, hungry player at 21 years of age. Now, when I heard the links to this, the first thing I thought about was, are we turning into Chelsea here? Where you're just going out and spending huge amounts of money on every young player you can get your hands on. And if we bring in Xavi Simons into our squad, it will feel like that. It will feel like that. It really will. I can't see this happening, to be honest with you. At the moment, I can't. If we do, absolutely fantastic. You're getting a very talented young player. And I would be all for it. I mean, the more we can strengthen up that forward line and get a bit of depth into it, the better. We're talking about Highland, Garnacho, Rashford, and then you've got Zirkzee coming in as well. That's 4. Outside of that, you're looking at Jadon Sancho, Anthony, and Ahmad still needs time. So, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world to be bringing in someone like Xavi Simons, but I'm not 100% sure whether we could actually get a deal like this over the line. I really don't. Given the amount of money he's worth. That's what I would say on that one. Let me know what you guys think about it. Now, I do want to also bring up this article, and this is coming out again from L'Equipe. This is in relation to Rabiot also. Manchester United are expected to return to the race for Adrien Rabiot and are still among the clubs interested in Xavi Simons, although Bayern Munich and Leipzig are ahead of them. So it doesn't look like we are leading the race for Xavi Simons. We've just been working on a deal, supposedly. Now, that could just be inquiring about it. Now, Adrien Rabiot, on the other hand. Adrien Rabiot is a player now that we've been linked with. I think this is the 3rd transfer window we've been linked with. Smash a like on the video as well, guys, by the way. We're only sitting on 15 likes. If you haven't already done so, please do smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new to the channel as well. Like I said, we're on the road to 11,000 subscribers. So please do smash a like on the video and hit subscribe. If at all possible, it helps the channel out a hell of a lot. But yeah, third, is it the 3rd window? I think it is the 3rd window now. We've been linked with Adrien Rabiot. And Jesus, that French kit is absolutely atrocious, isn't it? Anyway, sorry. I think this would be a smart move. I think this would be a smart move, especially given the fact that we are a little bit tight when it comes to money available this summer. And we are looking to bulk up that midfield. I think Adrien Rabiot would be a good signing. I do think that. given the fact that he's free. Now, I have to reiterate this fact, and it's not something I'm concerned about, because it's quite clear that we're not giving out stupid money anymore. I mean, look what Joshua Zirkzee is getting. I think he's getting 52 grand a week he's getting, which is absolute pennies, you would have to say, in the modern day. I mean, 52 grand a week, Jesus Christ, when we're saying that's pennies. In the, a normal person's life, that would be unbelievable. But Adrien Rabiot, if we are to go and get him, I'm talking a 3-year deal, maybe with the option of a fourth, and 100 grand a week. 100 grand a week, maybe a little bit, 110, 120 grand a week. That's what I would be offering to Adrien Rabiot. You are getting a very good footballer, it has to be said. There is some baggage with him, though, okay? He has fallen out with a couple of managers. His mother is his agent, and she's mental, supposedly, just like away with the fairies. Very hard to deal with. So you are getting a bit of baggage with him. However, you're getting a good footballer, and you're getting him for free. No transfer fee. So I think it's a smart move that United are, going to be back in there for him. We were in last summer for him, and we were in the summer before. So I don't see why we wouldn't be going in again, to be quite honest with you, and going in for seconds, if you know what I mean. Sorry, it's Friday, and I'm getting a Supermax tonight, so I am starving, and I can't wait. 20 minutes time. So look, it's all about midfielders. We've kind of shifted our focus away from the defence. Lenny Yoro is signed. We will go back in for another centre back, absolutely we will. But the focus now over the last few days seems to be midfield. Rabiot, Simons, Ugarte, and then outbound you're talking Casemiro, you're talking Scott McTominay. We haven't heard much on Christian Eriksen either. He wasn't happy with his game time last year, so he's probably going to be moved on as well. So it's going to be a very, very interesting summer when it comes to midfield. Get your comments in there. Let me take a quick drink of water here while you get your comments in. Let's see what you're saying here. Chris says Barcelona want to sell Frankie de Jong. The problem is he's on 600 grand a week. Jesus, Mary and Divine Joseph. Maybe he will take a pay cut to 200k. Well, I would love Frankie de Jong. I really, really would. Would you leave behind 600 grand a week on the table, though? 600 grand? My God, I didn't know he was on that much. I mean, you couldn't leave 600 grand on the table. That's setting your grandchildren up for life, let alone your children. So I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you. He said he's happy in Barcelona. Let's see what happens. If he gives some indication that he's happy to leave, then we should jump at it, because I think he would sign for us, and I think he would sign for Erik ten Hag again. But if he's not showing any intention of leaving, then just leave it. Are those sources you look on reliable? Because Romano said nothing about Simons yet, says Dylan. Well, L'Equipe is a pretty big sports outlet or media outlet in France. So look, you can never take anything for certain, even if it's coming from Fabrizio Romano. But like we say on the channel all the time, pinch of salt. So we just discuss the news. We don't I don't know. We'll see. There's always one outlet that will start the ball rolling with a player and being linked with a club. Let's see over the next day or so, maybe day or two, whether other people jump on it and start reporting it as well. Because usually if that happens, then there seems to be a bit of legitimacy to it. Dylan also says, don't ever say we will turn out like Chelsea. We're not dopes. We don't spend money stupid anymore. We buy players and we need We buy players we need and not random players. Danny says, I have to say no to Simons. He will cost too much. I'd like to say no for now. Is that a logo on your shirt or did you spill on yourself? Yeah, it's the French Connection logo. It's not a stain. It is a logo. As long as the wages are in line, says Chris. Absolutely. Neil says, Danny Olmo, I seen a report on it today. I was reading it all right. I left it out of tonight's show, but if it grows legs over the weekend, we'll certainly be talking about that next on Monday night. Don't forget as well, guys, we are doing a watch-along tomorrow. Manchester United are playing at 4 o'clock tomorrow. We'll be live from 3:30, so if you are new to the channel, do hit the subscribe button. Turn on notifications as well, so you'll get notified the second we do go live. United playing away to Rangers tomorrow. Let's hope we get a little bit of a look of Lenny Yoro. Let's hope he'll travel. He trained today for the first time, so he should be available, I would presume. Not Rabiot. Are we not going to keep Amrabat? Yeah, I mean, it's looking less likely that we keep Amrabat, to be honest with you. I mean, if we're getting Amrabat for 17 million or we can get Rabiot for free, I would go with Rabiot, to be honest. I really would. I like to see Rabiot at Man United, says Danny. He's a good player. The only thing, he's 29, so how much does he have to offer? The fact that he's a free agent is the only reason we want him. Well, we've wanted him for 2 or 3 years now. And I know that's a previous regime, but the fact that he's free might change the minds. But look, again, if it happens, it happens. I've got complete and utter trust in the structure that is, looking at players for Manchester United. Ashworth, Barada, Wilcox, all of these type of guys, I've got complete confidence in them. So yeah, happy days. Right, guys, I'm going to move it on relatively quickly for the last couple of items here, and we'll finish up for the Friday night and let you go and enjoy yourselves. We're going to talk a little bit about Anthony for a minute. Reports suggesting that United are willing to let him go out on loan this summer. And yeah, I mean, United will allow Anthony to leave on loan this summer as long as his full wage packet is covered. And yeah, look, I mean, we spoke about Anthony already, didn't we? And I think these are the types of stories we're going to be seeing now over the next couple of weeks because, I don't think we would go out and get a right winger without selling a right winger. So if Anthony does leave and we get somebody covering his wages, then absolutely fantastic. It'll probably open up the ability to go out and sign a right winger. However, I don't see Anthony's wages being covered in a loan deal for 2 reasons. One, any club rich enough to take on his full wage packet is probably too good for Anthony and they won't want to sign him. And anyone that does want to sign him, maybe a lower down club, won't be able to afford his wages. So I think we're going to have to meet in the middle. Finally, guys, I do want to talk real quick about Everton and the Friedkin group takeover of Everton is off, according to David Ornstein. They were in exclusive talks for the last 4 weeks, but withdrew from negotiations yesterday due to concerns about debt to previously proposed buyers. 777 puts Everton back in a precarious position. What does this mean for Manchester United and Jared Brantwaite? Does it mean that Everton are now stuck for money again? And are they potentially going to lower their price for Jared Brantwaite? And that's something that remains to be seen over the next few days. But it's I'd say Everton fans are absolutely devastated, but for us, it might be a good thing. It might be a good thing. Watch this space. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. Shorter show than normal tonight, Friday night. But like I said, if you haven't already done so, do smash a like on the video. If you can, please do hit the subscribe button as well. It helps us out an awful lot. We are back tomorrow for the watch along at 3:30. We will be live. So make sure you're tuning in for that as well. As always, guys, I do appreciate you. The numbers have been flying up over the last couple of weeks. We're on the road to 10,000 or 11,000 subscribers, which is brilliant. So keep subscribing if you're new, keep hitting the like button, keep commenting as well. If you are watching this back at a later date, put a comment in underneath the videos. It helps out the algorithm and it pushes out the videos to more people on YouTube. and then the channel grows, and maybe someday this will be a full-time job. But anyway, guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'll be back tomorrow, as always, for the watch along. Hope to see you all there. Have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy.